Good evening, I'm Ryan Graham. Thank you for joining us. This past Friday, shortly after 7 p.m., OPP officers responded to multiple calls about a collision involving a tractor trailer and an SUV. The driver of the SUV, a 28-year-old female from Long Lac and the sole occupant of the vehicle, was pronounced deceased at the scene. Highway 11 between Long Lac and Beardmore was closed for the investigation and reopened the following day shortly after 11 a.m. While the investigation remains ongoing, there has been no evidence obtained to date that would support any charges. Anyone with information, including dashcam footage, who has not yet spoken with officers is asked to contact Greenstone OPP. In related news, the Sioux Lookout Detachment of the OPP is investigating a single vehicle collision that resulted in a fatality on Vermilion River Road, just north of Sioux Lookout. OPP officers responded shortly after 8 a.m. this past Friday, following a report from a passing motorist who noticed a vehicle in a ditch. The driver, a 22-year-old male from Emo, was a lone occupant, was pronounced deceased at the scene. Vermilion River Road was closed for the investigation and reopened shortly before 5 p.m. that same day. The investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information regarding this collision is asked to contact the Sioux Lookout OPP. Well, residents near the Kaministiquia River may have noticed a yellow tint to the water this month. This comes as Fisheries and Oceans Canada has begun treating local waterways to reduce the sea lamprey population. Justin Hardy reports.
As seen here at Kakabeka Falls, the water passing through the Cam River will have a more saturated yellow tint. This is caused by the chemicals TFM and bailicide, chemical poisons for sea lampreys. Marine biologist Christine Boston explains that these chemicals are relatively safe for other species in the water.
Sea lamprey themselves, they're very primitive fish and they can't metabolize this chemical. Other fish are better at doing that. Having said that, we do have some species of fish that are also sensitive to TFM, so we are very careful about when and where we apply to minimize any risk to other species like juvenile lake sturgeon, for example, are sensitive to TFM, and this is why we actually are treating the system later, because we know now that they're large enough that and out of the system.
Sea lampreys are very prevalent in the western portion of Lake Superior, and like most other fish, travel upriver to spawn and then die. They lay their eggs in areas with a lot of debris, and once those eggs hatch, the bottom-feeding larvae drift downstream to soft riverbed, where they will remain for up to 15 years or more, depending on temperatures. There, they become parasitic juveniles and migrate out into the lake, where they each feed on up to 40 pounds of fish. Each female can lay up to 100,000 eggs, according to Boston. She says it's important to work to keep their numbers low.
Sea lamprey were one of the significant factors that led to the collapse of the Great Lakes fishery in the mid-20th century. And so they prey on native fish species and trout, salmon, whitefish in particular, because they're cold water species, so they share the same habitat, but they also will prey on other species of fish as well.
Other rivers leading into Lake Superior on both sides of the border will also be treated. Swimming, fishing, and boating remain safe, and fish caught during this time are safe to eat, according to Fisheries and Oceans Canada. Justin Hardy, TBT News.
The third annual EPID at Work Research into Action Conference was held at the Italian Cultural Centre this past week, connecting research with community impact in Northern Ontario workplaces. Jaden Billick reports.
The annual Research into Action Conference, hosted at the Italian Cultural Centre, brings together researchers, community partners, and workplace leaders to explore real-world applications of occupational health and safety research in the workplace. Director and Senior Scientist at Enhancing the Prevention of Injury and Disability at Work Research Institute, known as EPID, Dr. Vicky Christman explains what the focus is.
So a lot of the work we focus in on is primarily mental health in the workplace. That includes addictions. We've had a presentation today on addictions and how we treat each other in the workplace. Presentation by Dr. Kathy Sanderson ongoing right now. So really it's about how do we make workplaces healthier and safer for the workers.
Over 100 people attended throughout the day to gain insight in the latest research from leading experts and local leaders through meaningful workshops and interactive panels. Assistant professor in the School of Social Work at Lakehead University, Abigail Sprakes, presented her speech about employers' need of conversations around when substance use can be problematic to employees and the support for the employees' wellness.
We know that in Northwestern Ontario, we are disproportionately impacted by levels of substance use, certainly within workplaces, and all of us go through struggles, but that we want to be able to support employees so they can stay employed, that they can contribute to their communities, and we want to reduce the stigma that's related to substance use to be able to talk about it more openly.
Chrisman says the conference has been growing with community interest after seeing greater success over the past 3 years.
Actually, we've seen approximately 50 new registrants each year, so that's really exciting. And we'd like to continue that trend moving forward. I think it's a great way to continue to build these, basically it's relationship building, to really build these relationships that are needed to ask the right questions and make sure that we as a research organization are trying to answer and address the right questions to make sure that we can improve the health and safety of workers.
Jaden Billick, TBT News.
The final outdoor story sharing event of the summer, called Park Your Stories, was held at Mission Island Marsh this past week. Local residents had a chance to write their 10-minute personal stories and share them with the other attendees. Park Your Stories is a relaxing storytelling experience for all ages. However, a special invitation is sent out to anyone over the age of 60 who wishes to share a sliver of their life experiences. The weekly events have been happening at different community parks throughout the city, and officials say this year was yet another success. Age Big founder Nancy Angus says the purpose of the story sharing is to build friendships and experience the great outdoors together. And it was only fitting to have the last one at Mission Marsh, with the beautiful Lake Superior background as inspiration.
It's been lovely. It's been a really close group of people because when people write their stories for 10 minutes, then it takes a couple of minutes to share those stories back. So it's good that we haven't had 100 people at each event, but I think it's growing. And as any kind of really cool project starts with a couple of people to make it work, and then it can get bigger from there. I can see that we'll be maybe getting back together indoors, perhaps, or maybe we'll do what they do in Australia, rug up, put a big blanket on, and still use our beautiful parks and green spaces in Thunder Bay.
So it's been a nice way to meet new people, and sometimes coming to a town when you're older, moving somewhere, this is just a fantastic way to find out about your community and support natural spaces in your community.
More information about future events can be found on the Age Big website. The community came together to honor the lives of fallen police officers during the Police and Peace Officers Memorial Service. Families, fellow officers, and local leaders paid tribute to the men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice while serving and protecting others. Constable Craig Town, who survived a serious gunshot injury sustained in the line of duty in 1991 and passed away in 2023, was honored at the National Memorial Service in Ottawa, which was live streamed at the service, giving local officers the opportunity to bear virtual witness. Deputy Chief of Thunder Bay Police, Ryan Hughes, says it's a special day to honor those who have fallen.
Today's a very special day. It's the memorial for fallen police officers. The national one is in Ottawa, where we have 9 members attending because one of our members' name is going on the wall today, Craig Town. So today's a very special occasion for the Thunder Bay Police Service, and it's in honor of all the officers that have given their life for protecting the community. It's a special occasion. All the officers are in their dress uniform. They're very proud of serving the community, and they will give their lives to protect the community.
The service is a reminder that the sacrifices these officers made will never be forgotten, and that their legacy lives on in the continued service of their brothers and sisters in the police force. Well, the City of Thunder Bay, in partnership with Eco Superior, hosted its first ever coastal cleanup. The effort was carried out by dedicated volunteers and Eco Superior divers. Emma Chilton reports.
Dozens of volunteers and divers came together today to take part in a shoreline cleanup at Fisherman's Park. The effort focused on removing debris from both the waterfront and the lake itself, highlighting the importance of protecting the natural environment. Litter-Free Lakes coordinator for Eco Superior, Kennedy Bucci, says the cleanup is not only happening in the community, but all the Great Lakes and the St. Lawrence Seaway.
When we were approached by the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiative to run a Great Lakes Coastal Cleanup event, we were really excited, and it's a really unique and historic event because it's the first of its kind, where we're doing simultaneous cleanups on each of the Great Lakes, including the St. Lawrence Seaway. So that's really cool. It's all happening right now, which is great. And I'm just really happy and proud of all the people that came out. We've had a really great turnout, and it's just awesome to see how much love everyone has for Lake Superior.
Bucci says it's important to categorize the debris for future initiatives.
In addition to the cleanup, we're also doing a waste audit. So we're counting and characterizing all of the waste that we find, and that data will help us to improve our waste management strategies in the city and also our education, our public education, to help protect Lake Superior from more pollution down the line.
The cleanup is being funded by the province of Ontario with $650 million from the Freshwater Action Plan. Minister of Jobs and Families Patty Hadu attended the cleanup and said it's nice to see the community participate.
Well, it's really fantastic to see so many people turning out to clean up the lake. This is the first ever Great Lakes Coastal Cleanup. And of course, Thunder Bay citizens along the North Shore are in love with the lake. And so it's wonderful to see individual citizens, members of different groups and action groups come together to do this important work.
Emma Chilton, TBT News.